it turns out Joel Embiid on Twitter liked a post that was the Obi Toppin traded away to the Pacers. That sucks for me because I actually really like the Obi Toppin.
You have his jersey. Now it's worthless.
I've continued the streak. The last jersey that you got me a while ago was Kristaps Porzingis, and then he got was it traded or released that year.
Yeah.
And now I get the Obi Toppin jersey, and he's gone again. So my streak continues. But he on Twitter liked the post where it was the announcement of the Obi Toppin trade, and that sparked some little, could Joel Embiid be upset with Harden maybe going? Tyrese Maxey hasn't been extended yet. Could that be Joel Embiid maybe wants out of Philadelphia potentially? So I want to know, are you buying into this Embiid to the Knicks narrative potentially?
Yeah. Well, I think the Knicks should do everything they can do to get him. I really think they should.
So you're buying into it.
I'm buying in that they should try. I'm not sure they can do it, but I think they should try. And I think that if the 76ers can't land a second superstar to play alongside of Embiid, then he may ask for a trade. I don't think that. What's his name? The guy
James Harden.
Harden, right? Yeah. I don't think Harden. He wants out. They're going to trade him. So who are they going to bring in? They got to bring in someone really good, or Embiid's going to be unhappy. So who would that be?
Well, I gave the example. I forgot when we did it was not this. It wasn't Monday's show. I believe it was last Friday or last Monday. It was when we were breaking news left and right, I think. I said Paul George could be a good option for the 76ers to go out and trade, because I think James Harden holds some value to some teams. And Paul George, according to the Clippers, because the Knicks actually were, involved in a potential Paul George to the Knicks, and then the Clippers were like, yeah, we're going to ask a lot for Paul George. And the Knicks were like, yeah, we're good, which I think is a smart move. I don't want to see the Knicks do what they did with Carmelo Anthony, where they sold everything away to bring in Carmelo, and Carmelo was left with like a landfill of talent around him. And it really was, it was abysmal to watch. It was really Carmelo Anthony and just a bunch of bums.
Yeah.
So I thought of this potential trade, and this is exactly what I think the Knicks could potentially do if they want to trade for Joel Embiid. Here it is. So the Knicks receive Joel Embiid. The Sixers get Quentin Grimes, a great defensive guard. Evan Fournier, who has a big contract the Knicks could get off of. He's had his moments, but recently he's been pretty bad.
They didn't even play him in the playoffs.
They didn't play him really throughout the season. And Julius Randle, who is probably outside of Jalen Brunson, who they will not get off of, probably the best piece on the Knicks. And 3 future first-round picks, because I believe, if I heard it correctly, they have 11 first-round picks in 8 years. Mm-hmm. So this could be a potential trade that the Sixers maybe could be interested in.
I don't think that gets it done, Nate.
They get their defense. They get their replacement big man. They have Evan Fournier, who has the ability. I'm not saying it's consistent, but he has the ability to hit shots. He hasn't been great. He played 27 games last season. He really didn't show up. But his first season with the Knicks, he was pretty good. He averaged 14 points on nearly 40% shooting from 3 in 80 games. Oh. And this season, I don't know what the hell happened to him. Mm-hmm. So the potential is there. I'm not saying this is the end all be all. You might need to add another first round pick here, but I do think this actually is at least a stepping stone for the Knicks.
The Knicks have a ton of first round picks.
They do,
right? Don't they have the Pistons and the Wizards 2024 first round picks?
All I know is that they have 11 first round picks in 7 years. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what picks are.
It's amazing. So I would say the 3 first round picks is right. I think Julius Randle is right. I think it's going to take Mitchell Robinson and maybe quickly.
Really quickly?
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is I would take out Evan Fournier potentially and put in RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett's not a good defender, and he's not really a consistent scorer, but he has a lot of talent and tries very hard. He has a problem with free throws as well. So if I think the Knicks maybe want a slight overpay to try to get this trade going, I'd swap out Fournier and put in RJ Barrett. But I
think Mitchell Robinson would be in the deal, right? He's a center.
Right.
The 76ers are going to need a center.
I think Julius Randle could suffice.
And I think the 76ers would qualify as being in rebuild mode if they get rid of Harden and Embiid.
I think that could be but
Mitchell Robinson's a young guy.
Nucleus, though.
And Julius Randle's a guy that will help them win a few games. So,
right.
So I think They could. I think they should try hard to get that done. They really need. Right now they really, in my mind, in the playoffs and in the series against the Heat, they only have one player, Brunson.
Yeah.
Everybody else was missing in action.
Yeah.
None of them played very well.
I will say this though, while the Knicks couldn't shoot against the Heat, R.J. Barrett was pretty good driving to the paint, getting easy baskets down low. Shooting, he couldn't shoot. Free throws, he couldn't make free throws. Julius Randle had a couple off games, but it really was only Jalen Brunson. And that's why you need to bring in, maybe another big man and have Jalen Brunson and, Joel Embiid work out pretty well. Something like that. And if we're talking about where the 76ers going to a rebuild and they don't want older players, that's where I think the swap out Evan Fournier for RJ Barrett would be even better. Because now you have an offensive piece in RJ, you have a defensive piece in Quentin Grimes, and you have a pretty good all-around forward in Julius Randle, and you also have 3 first-round picks to do whatever you want with, draft, trade those, whatever you want to do. You have that opportunity, and the Knicks get the former MVP, right now who's defending his MVP or his league MVP status, Joel Embiid. I'm not saying this will happen this year. It could happen this year. But I think this could be a potential trade, and I think it's interesting because I truthfully feel like if the Knicks didn't play such dumb basketball against the Heat, giving up easy, full court pass, easy layups, play very bad defense. I was at 2 of those games. They would put the Heat's players on the corners, on the wings, and then when the Knicks players would step up, they would just go down the baseline, catch the ball, easy layup. I saw that all the time. Jalen Brunson would be looking at Jimmy Butler at the top of the key. Caleb Martin or Gabe Vincent or Kyle Lowry would just zoom to the paint. Easy pass, easy layup. It was all that.
It makes you wonder what happened there because Thibodeau is a great defensive mind.
He is.
I don't know what he was thinking there.
I'll also say this. Mitchell Robinson had trouble doing the one thing he does, rebound.
Yeah.
They couldn't get any rebounds. They were getting out-rebounded by Bam Adebayo and Kevin Love. Cody Zeller was out-rebounding them.
Yeah.
So Mitchell Robinson didn't do his one job that he probably needed to do for the Knicks, and then Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart was also disappointing late in that series.
He was disappointing.
I believe he did opt into his player option for this year. So there is an opportunity for the Knicks to make some moves, and I truthfully think if the Knicks make one move, I'm not saying blow up the team just keep Jalen Brunson there and leave the rest of the field bare. I'm saying you actually have pieces that are viable trade assets to other teams to improve your team.
If Embiid asks for a trade, then Philadelphia is going to be in a tough spot. They have to decide, are we going to try to keep a competitor together here, or are we going to blow it up and rebuild? And I think with the Knicks picks, they could blow it up and rebuild. And
I think not only with the picks, if you swap out Evan Fournier with RJ Barrett, you still have a young nucleus with Tyrese Maxey. You have a young nucleus that, maybe it's not an entire rebuild where you drop as low as the Rockets or the Spurs did. Maybe you drop to like the 8, 9, 10 seed and still have an opportunity to make it into the playoffs still with that young nucleus. Yeah. So it's not going to be a complete rebuild. You're just going to lose a couple games. And I did some trade analysis to see, what the benefits of this trade would be. So last year, and it sort of varied per website, but last year, the 76ers won 54 games. They were the number 3 seed. I put it into one trade analysis one, and they said the 76ers would lose 10 wins. So that would bring them to 44 wins.
If they lost Embiid and Harden.
No, I just did Embiid. Did Embiid. So 10 wins. So they would be where Miami was last year.
I'm not so sure. Not so sure.
Miami won 44 games last year.
I understand that, but I think that they would lose more than 10 games.
The Knicks would get 10 wins. They would be at Boston at the number 2 spot. And I did another one. The 76ers would actually they would lose 2 wins. So they would be, they would 54. They'd be at 52. I don't agree with that one because they'd be in the same spot. But there were varying ones. So if we do the average, so they lose 6 wins if they trade away Embiid. So 6 wins from 54, they would be 48. They would be the 4 seed. Or no, sorry, they'd be the 5 seed above the Knicks. So even with Embiid, the Knicks would still be, the Knicks would still be, close to them or right around the same level. So what I'm saying is that this could be an option. And am I buying completely into a simple Twitter like? I am. But it's interesting to think that the Knicks are this close. They need one pretty good superstar. No, good star, pretty good superstar to potentially make them an Eastern Conference Finals to an NBA Finals team. They were this close. If they just played a little bit smarter, they would have beaten the Heat because they were the deeper team.
Well, if they'd had Embiid, the way Brunson played, they would have beat the Heat. I think.
I'm still thinking
they might have beaten the Celtics too.
Well, here's the thing: the Celtics and the Knicks play so much better against the Celtics than the Celtics play against the Knicks.
Yeah,
it's pretty incredible. And I think just the NBA Finals matchup, Embiid and the 76ers, mark it down. When James Harden leaves, they're not a finals team. And especially, I don't think Dame is going to go to the 76ers. I don't think this team's even an Eastern Conference Finals team. So Embiid, I think if they lose Harden and if they start losing a lot, we'll see Joel Embiid get upset. We'll see him potentially, hint that he wants out. I think the Knicks should jump in on it and see what they could give up. And as long as it's not, the entire farm, give up, a group of cattle here, I think it'll be fine for Joel Embiid. I think the Knicks should jump on that opportunity if it presents itself. Because teams potentially, like the Celtics could go all in.
I would say, I would say that the Knicks could give up just about a lot. They could give up a lot. And if they had Embiid and Brunson, then the other players that would want to come to the Knicks to play with them because they'd look at it as a core that has a chance to win a championship,
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.